I work for another company right now as like a day gig. On the side, I do run I run like a small content doing mostly like blogging and newsletters. That's just kind of a side project. It's my passion though. So it's not necessarily a full-on SaaS, but I'm pretty involved with the indie hacking community, and the solopreneur community. So just looking at SaaSes here and there as well, trying to find interesting projects to work on all the time. Um, while just coding for fun on the side as well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like you have to have side projects to keep up with industry because, like, when you work for a company, they're kind of stuck in the tech stack that they built things in, and you don't get a lot of variation. So, it's the side projects that keep us going.
Absolutely, yeah, and I actually love working on side projects too, because you get to work on some really cool tech. The issue that I've had in the past, to be honest with you, is I like get in early on the tech, but then I always fail to monetize it. Like I was on like the whole Web3 NFT train since like well before it was mainstream, like 2017, 2016. I was on like the Web3 and like all that stuff, but I just completely failed to monetize it. Then same with the whole AI wave. I was like working on AI applications all the way back since like September of 2022, like well before ChatGPT came out fully. And like with drop shipping too, like the whole drop shipping scene. I was working in that scene for a few months, and then I was like, fuck it, I don't want to do this anymore. And I stopped, and then all of a sudden, all the drop shipping courses blew up on Instagram, and I was like, wow,
You
okay,
miss
I
it?
have a
Yeah.
really good, yeah, I have a really good ability to like predict trends, but not like monetize on them.
Well,
So
okay, so
I'm still
here
working on.
here's one that I'm going to shoot myself in the foot for a long time. So it had to have been like 2013, 2014. Bitcoin was kind of starting to get a little bit more mainstream, but it definitely hadn't hit the like spike. So I worked in a trust company, and the VP that I kind of worked under, he was like, check this out. This is Bitcoin. It's like decentralized. It's got a blockchain, all this terminology. I had no idea what it was. He's like, go do some research on this so we can start like incorporating it in on stuff. So it was kind of a side project. But then a few weeks later, he's like, yeah, I bought some Bitcoin. Uh, it was great. It was super easy, and I got like just throw a couple bucks at it and see what happens. So this is way before when it exploded, and I was like, oh man, this looks like kooky stuff. So 5 years later,
Yeah.
100% of regret.
Yep.
I mean, I could have like, I mean, the price of it then versus the price of it at that point, it was like anyone could be a millionaire just spending like $10 on it. So
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I met him in 2016. He was a kid. He was born in 2002. So he's a kid, 15. And he had gotten into Bitcoin when he was like 12 years old. So like right around 14, he went like 2 feet in. He went to his uncle and begged his uncle for $10,000, and his uncle was like, "Being on fucking five." And his uncle gave him 10 grand to put into Bitcoin back in like 2015, 2014. And this kid just like spent every single dollar he had into Bitcoin, just like all into it. I met him in like 2016, 2017, around that era. Yeah, I guess I met him in 2016. And then during the 2017 spike, like, do you remember that winter when Bitcoin hit like 25 grand?
yeah, I remember that was right when I kind of got crazed into it.
Yeah, he cashed out a little bit. He cashed out for like $250,000 worth at that time. And he cashed out, but at this time, he hadn't just held the Bitcoin. He'd been like trading altcoins and stuff too. So like he was making like even more gains here and there as well. He's a very active trader. But like he cashed out around $250,000 into like US dollars, and he took that $250,000. This is now like what 16-year-old kid. He took this $250,000 and he built a drop shipping warehouse in Ohio. And then he capitalized on the whole drop shipping craze. And he started like fulfilling drop shipping orders out of the US. And so then he was kid at the age of like, I don't know, when he was like 18, 19. Oh, last time I talked to him, this kid was doing 3 million a year in revenue out of his fucking drop shipping. Started like fulfilling drop shipping.
Yeah,
It was insane.
uh, genius. I meant to time that stuff like that. you have to have kind of instinct for it. So, uh, but it would be nice to be there.
Yeah, it's okay. You know, everyone gets their time to
Oh
shine. It's
yeah,
just a matter of you gotta keep showing up the stage. You know.
but you can also get bored too. Like I could see, I don't know. So, do you do any Web3 stuff?
Yeah, actually. So I work with my same guy I just mentioned. Me and him worked on a couple of Web3 projects. We worked on two Web3 projects together, but unfortunately they all died in like the early. No, I guess they all died in like the ideation slash like early development phases. Um, they just kind of dwindled away. We were like, I don't ever really want to work on this anymore. But like I developed this is like back in 2017. I worked on a Ethereum application for mobile payments transfers.
Uh huh.
Um, and we were doing this was like basically an app we were creating to do like Ethereum payments using like QR codes, which at the time was like, or no, sorry, we were using NFC, I believe it was NFC or QR codes, one of those at the time. And at the time, like there's like one companies out there that did that. Like Coinbase was just like getting a little bit popular, and so we were doing that. Then that died pretty early on as well, just because of how much technical um, how much technical is required to get into that industry at the time. And then a couple of years ago, 2021 was it or 2020? Maybe 2021. I worked on an NFT project. Wow, like NFT, um, just with NFT projects, and then that also died in the litigation phase, very city early development phase. But yeah,
Yeah. I have a lot of
how about
projects that,
yourself?
or I had a lot of projects that kind of would happen like that. Is you get real gumptious and get going, and then you either kind of lose the drive for it, or you don't monetize it quick enough, and you just have to stop working on it for other stuff.
Yeah, it really
But
did be like that.
uh, Leon, good to see. I kind of see you floating around. We're just kind of catching up. We're both developers. I think you're. Do you do tech stuff? AI, I see. Or you say, oh,
He's a listener. He's not able to talk.
You just now got it. Hi.
oh yeah, yeah.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Oh, great. Thank you very much. Just jumped in. I saw your space. I just wanted to jump in to listen. Then I saw that you were there. So
Yeah,
nice to connect.
yeah. So, uh, tell us what you do or what you're interested in, and we're right now. There's no really format yet, so
So I'm a partner in a marketing agency, relatively big. We promote businesses that usually when they start, and then we grow them into big brands. That's what we do.
That's pretty awesome. Do you own like the content? So like, how do you do it? Do you also own the way you promote them, or do you connect them with mediums?
Yeah, so basically what we do is that we buy shares into the company. So we work only with companies that we become shareholders. And so we invest in the companies that we promote, and then we promote them in order to grow with them.
It's a very smart move.
oh,
Put
that's
your money
cool.
where your mouth is.
Yeah, we basically do it's a win-win situation where we it's called marketing as shares. So, and it's something that unfortunately most agencies don't do. They just take a percentage of the marketing spend, and they don't really care about the growing the ROI of the company that they promote, right? So we just wanted to really help the companies that we believe in to get better and grow their customers. And we're really happy with the results and our clients as well.
Yeah, I love it. I see in your profile you've done 500 million in revenue with 50 million in paid ads.
Yeah.
It's a lot, big numbers.
It sounds unique. Is that a unique concept, or is it? Just I'm like
So
I haven't heard of it.
if you see, actually, there's not many people doing it, but if you
Right.
see, for example, Alex Hormozy is famous for using the same kind of strategy, and it's not very popular, really, because it's a bet. It's a bet that you take.
Right. It almost sounds like a venture capitalist type of thing. On
Yeah,
paper,
exactly.
would you consider that, or is it you're purely marketing, but you kind of put skin in the game?
Correct. It's a kind of venture.
Okay. That's cool.
It's like to be small, but it's ever when you want to check it out, see if there's anything you want to work with together, work on. Always happy to chat.
Would love to. I did the Southern Road.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Are
It's
you
right there.
familiar with Milk Room?
Yes. Yes.
Actually, would you mind putting that in the chat or DMing me that newsletter?
Yeah, it's in my bio as well.
Oh, okay.
Check it.
That makes it easier.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really just a fun project that me and my good friend we started together, and it's been so much fun. So I've absolutely loved working on it the past few months.
Amazing. So you're deep in the AI space?
Yeah, so if this was on a recorded room, I could share more, but yeah, I work in I work in SaaS, so I guess I work in cloud rather. I work in cloud, and so I've worked on some AI and some platform as a service model and some software as a service models for various large tech companies. And I've also worked with some startups, and I've ran a couple of startups myself as well. Pretty small scale stuff, nothing too major. Um, but yeah, I'm pretty heavy. I won't say developer advocate, but I advocate definitely for like technical founders, and I consult for a couple of startups as well as like a technical advisor.
Amazing. If there's something that I love about this app, is to connect with founders and entrepreneurs and startup founders like you guys.
I feel like it takes a little
Likewise.
bit to get momentum on it. Uh,
Yes, it does.
and
It does.
like I'm or I hate that I waited so long to try because I focused on like Facebook and that was really it. I didn't really try that hard, but I really regret not starting sooner.
Yeah, Twitter and LinkedIn, in my view, from promoting online for business purposes, they're just these two apps are the best. Get the highest quality of people in terms of people that are used to read and like to read are most probably going to be higher quality than people that like to consume videos and short content in that type of form, right?
Definitely, yeah. Leon, I have a question. I'm not sure if you're the best person to answer this, but I'm just curious to get your take on it. How do you find Reddit as a marketing platform? And what are your thoughts on that?
Actually, it's a great question, and it depends a lot on the product that you're promoting. So, for example, we promote a lot on Quora and Reddit. So, Quora especially, even more than Reddit. So, Reddit, you have to come up with much more engaging content in order to promote over there. So, memes, for example, we used to promote a company that unfortunately didn't succeed, but we invested in it, and it was really cool. It's an app that lets you connect the developers with clients through GitHub. So instead of you searching for a good developer, you just get his GitHub projects, and that way you can already know what kind of developer it is, right? So we promoted that on Reddit and Quora and Twitter, and on Reddit it worked great when we used memes. So only when you use the kind of content that it's the same mindset of the people of the social media, then it works. And also it depends on what you're promoting. For example, ecom is definitely not a good idea to promote on Reddit.
Absolutely. This is awesome to hear, Leon, because I'm a very heavy Reddit and Quora user. I have like 70,000 karma on Reddit and like over a million views on Quora. And I I never really took it seriously for promoting just because I did it for fun. And then after a while, I was reading online about how people are like having so much struggles promoting on Reddit, and like how a lot of companies are like they're having issues with it and stuff. And as I was looking into it, I saw that they're all doing it wrong. Um,
Yeah.
and it's just been very interesting, like reading about marketers' takes on Reddit. Some people are like,
Yeah, I feel like Reddit's kind of got a very narrow kind of like demographic. So it's probably like millennials and younger and more techie people, but it's starting to get more popular. I don't know.
yeah, I would agree with you, Jason. But I think it's broader than millennials and techies. I think the one thing they do all share in common with Reddit, and this is coming from a consumer's point of view, like I've been on Reddit for years, very active in like multiple communities, is that like Redditors have a very low threshold for like bullshit. Like, if you want to come at them, you gotta come at them straight. You gotta come at them with either knowledge or an opportunity to share knowledge. If you're just trying to promote like those shitty Instagram videos where it's like, whatever, you're trying to promote a mobile game. I see this all the time on Reddit when it's bad, where it's like, can you save the princess from the water or whatever? Like shitty Instagram ads you see for games. Like those fail.
It's good for free SEO too. I mean, the backlinks are actually not blocked, which
Yeah.
cool. So I guess so. I thought I would go into like the plans for this uh, space. I want to do it like once a week, and hopefully we'll get more traction on it, and where it turns into sort of like pitch yourself sort of thing. I don't know if it needs to be super structured or not, so I'm kind of open to input on that. But I think just having something consistent on people's calendar is kind of where I'm wanting to go with it. So, uh,
I think it would be good, Jason. I think I've seen you in few spaces that we've done in the past with Tom and with Rob and other guys from the Space Alliance. I don't know
right.
if you know about it.
Oh, I don't know if I intentionally did. I just kind of lurk because the topics are great.
So I can tell you that it helped a lot. Like we gathered last space actually wasn't that big, but usually we do a space every Friday at 3 Central Europe time. I don't know in the US what time it will be, but that's a great strategy to gather some people from different backgrounds, different or maybe the same even backgrounds, and then to gather them into DMs to organize spaces where each and every person will host and co-host in turns. And that way you create your own crew where everybody will bring their own audience and their own people into this space, and then it becomes so much fun and so much engaging and different views on maybe a specific topic.
Yeah, I like that. I like that idea. And the only thing I would advocate for is I'm on the Pacific time zone, West Coast. So 1 p.m. on a Monday might be hard for a lot of people. That's West Coast time.
Yeah. And then Mona, I'm not sure where you jumped in, but we're just kind of catching up. Do you want to introduce yourself and uh, say what you do and jump in? Just feel free to jump in.
His energy, feel like so just excited to hear what he has to say. And I think more observing than anything. But yeah, so that's me. Hi guys.
Cool, nice to meet you. So, yeah, back to the organizing thing. So you're saying they kind of like just DM, create co-hosts, kind of get organized, and then Do they do the space the same time every week?
Yes, we basically get there when the best for everyone. And according to that, we decided when to do it. We also have another space that we do on Wednesday at 3 Central Europe time, which I think it's 9 a.m. in the US. And that way we do have two different spaces. But again, it's up to you.
Right.
Once you, I think, for example, I haven't seen a space that is weekly about tech, for example. And I think there is a need, and there is it would be so cool to have a space about tech people talking together on new startups, new ways to promote them. Because I, for example, I'm looking really all the time for
New
startups.
things.
Yeah, all the time. So it would be so nice to have a group of people that talk together about this and maybe help each other uh, to grow together.
I like it. And then, do you think it? Oh man.
Sorry, didn't mean to sound. Sorry, I thought that was an emoji. I didn't realize it actually.
Make it a clap. That's funny.
Yeah, I thought that was actually making me clap. I want to do this one. There we go. Sorry.
No problem.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I'm kind of winging it. So, Ryan or Queen, if you want to jump up, just request, and you can have the mic. Just introduce yourself and say what you're hunting for, or if you just want to chill out. So, what else?
You have to give them the mic, don't they?
You can request. You can request it.
Oh, interesting. Okay, cool. Like
Yeah.
I said, this is my first time in space, yeah. It's not really interesting.
No, so yeah, I think if you request, there's just at the bottom left, there's a mic. You can click it. So, I don't know. I'm kind of out of conversation starters. So, are any of you all reading books, or what type of books do you read? Do you read anything on AI? Is it technical?
Most of the AI stuff I'm currently reading, is just all like in the news and Twitter and stuff because it's so new. There's not many books that are out about the latest stuff unless you're like research.
Execute. So to get the steps that it takes, the motivation, and I recommend it. It's actually, I think it may be pinned onto my Twitter page. I'm not 100% sure, but again, very motivation. It's motivational, motivational, self-helpful type of brand things right now. But definitely probably about four books in for the year already.
So, what do you all think about the singularity? How far away? And if you don't know, so Ray Kurzweil, maybe it was like 20 years ago, wrote a book kind of predicting when AI will become self-aware and kind of like that point that of no return. Do you think we'll ever hit it?
Interesting. I've never read that book. But I think it is an interesting concept. I think that eventually AI pretty much itself. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Well, it's like an intelligence. So really, humans will no longer be able to control it. Is kind of the thing, and it just kind of takes off. So, Ryan, you just stepped up. So, if you want to introduce yourself and say hello, say what you're working on, or do you have a startup or?
So I'm currently working on
Is it related to Chat GPT at all? Like in that vein or different? So I saw that there's a regulation or something government-wise passed, at least here in the U.S., about not like restricting being able to send high-end video cards overseas because of the AI applications. So like the war is starting internally, I think.
yeah, I don't think it's something to be too scared of.
No, it not scared, but it. I think everyone kind of wants to do it and get it. Want to be the first to achieve it because that puts you that much further ahead. Yeah. So.
Although China are much, much more advanced on the AI. I don't
Oh, I know.
but, yeah, the ChatGPT is not available at all in Russia and China. They basically have much better version already.
Yeah, but like cultural-wise, China will use the data of the people a lot more than like the people here in the U.S. are willing to give up. So like the companies all have our data, but the government, I don't think technically can use it. Or so it's like you can't train the AIs on data sets they don't have, which is huge
Yeah.
disadvantage.
Yeah,
One thing is, go ahead, yeah.
no, sorry, go ahead.
I also want to just add something to that as well. Please fact check me on this, but one thing I read as well is that in China they have a much better job of actually collecting this data and organizing and sanitizing it, since the government does a much better job of collecting it, and also they have more access to the company's data sets, and they're more like unified in a sense. They're able to use much more efficient algorithms and processes, whereas compared to the US, where every company has their own separate data set, the government has their own separate data set, and there's little cooperation between them, for better or for worse. It makes our AIs seem, or act a little bit weaker when compared to the Chinese ones.
Yeah, I just don't think people give up the data or want to give up their privacy here, which is not good for AI. But
Also in China, the thing is that the the businesses are working together with the government all together. They don't have a thing that is a differentiation between businesses and government. So there, for example, you can see it with the semiconductors, which is also super important with the thing of AI, because if you don't have semiconductors, you don't have AI, right? And there in China, they're working a lot to create their own semiconductors instead of being dependent on the US and Taiwan. So that's also something interesting that they're doing.
yeah, it's a different word. So there is a book called Super Intelligence, I think. Hang on, I've got to look it up. Super Intelligence. Yes, super intelligent. It kind of talks about how China has like this the whole social app and their social scores and how it's like collecting data with the AI building and all that, and it's really interesting. And I don't know, like from competitive AI standpoint, it makes me not feel like we can keep up in the western side of the world. So it won't be long that we're really far behind.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, only time will tell, unfortunately. If this is a topic that's really interesting to you guys, I'm curious if I should write about it because I was looking into like the whole AI in the global scene, but I found that some people found that boring because it's not very actionable. It's more like informative. But if this is something that you guys think would be interesting to like consume in a like a bite-sized piece, I might do some more digging and write about it.
Yeah, go for it, Ryan. Is that how you pronounce your tag?
Yeah, it's like watermelon rind or pork rind.
Okay.
So I'm kind of wondering, what are you guys' thoughts on like the end goal of AI? So these companies that are making these things, is it for the like us creators to make our life easier, or are they just trying to develop systems you think for themselves to try and utilize all the data? Like,
I can have a swing at this. So, AI itself is it's really like broad. If we're talking about like how like chat
did it come through?
pardon me.
It cut off when you're asking about like what the end goal for the AIs in different companies. That's kind of where it cut off on you.
Yeah, I was asking what you guys' thoughts
Oh,
were on
yep.
the end goal for these AIs. Like, why do we think we need to have AIs, and especially have AIs out to the general public, which historically has kind of been irresponsible. These,
You want to pick up again, Ryan?
Are you asking?
yeah,
Yeah.
you guys can hear me?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I was kind of curious about what your guys' thoughts were on the end goals for these AIs, and why they would put it out to the public for free use, because we've, I think, historically kind of been irresponsible, especially with just free information.
Go for it, Leon. And if you open mic, don't worry. I don't feel like we're going to talk over anyone enough to worry about it.
Basically, from what I understand, is once you input your prompts, you're giving data out. So they are also registering and storing the data of your prompts. And that's also something that they need in order to develop even better the product. You can see already that they're starting to charge right now to make better kind of prompts and to filter out the quality. But still, we are giving this machine a lot of data in order to make this machine even better.
Here's my main concern with it. So I know a few of my friends have used these things as like virtual therapists, or getting like relationship advice and things like that, especially for mental health issues. Uh, do you guys think that that's also kind of dangerous if they're collecting this data and they can see exactly when one person maybe is having like negative thoughts or showing signs of mental health issues? And you think that this could come back on somebody?
It can be used on both sides, so it can might save someone if someone had, for example, suicide thoughts, right? So the AI can predict that and maybe help that person, right? And avoid someone to commit something that's really bad. But on the other side, I was just talking with someone who had exactly the same problem as you are describing, someone with PTSD, and he is not receiving any jobs because of that. And his data, once he's using AI as a therapist, he's basically giving out his data, even intimacy, that nobody knows, and maybe nobody should know. He's giving it out. Obviously, there's not someone who is looking for that data and, oh, this guy did like this. No, but for example, me as a marketer, I buy data because this data helps me target better people on my ads, right? So this data is going to be out, and we are going to be able to target people in a much better way, which might be good or might be wrong. It depends on how the people are going to use it.
Go for it, Ryan. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that, Leon. I definitely, as well. This is a double-edged sword here.
Go ahead, Ryan.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So, I just skipped my train of thought here now. Oh yes, I was gonna say, one of the things that's gonna become even more important in the near future, especially with concerns like this, is companies actually ethically using the data. So, for example, you have companies like Apple, which is questionable on exactly how ethical they are, but they've shown to be more ethical than others with their use of data. So if you have a company that's promised to privacy, or even like a third party that can further ensure your privacy, that's going to become really valuable to individuals. And I mean, everyone in this call is some sort of business person. So that's also a huge space for us to look into and invest into, is how can we get the benefits of the AI while maintaining our personal privacy. Um, the fact that, let's pretend like Apple is the golden child. The fact that Apple is promised to be perfect with our data, we'll never use it for harm. That could be something very promising in the field of AI, where we're getting all the benefits of it. Like, it can detect your heart attack before it happens through your Apple Watch, or it can detect when you're having suicidal thoughts. But it won't share that information with your employer or with a third party. That is a really healthy way to use the AI for good and not evil. And other companies, well, I'm not going to name because there's too many, who've shown that they're willing to auction off your data to the highest bidder. Companies like this, I truly believe they will really see some negative repercussions. We've already seen it in like 2016 after the U.S. elections. There's that whole scandal with Cambridge Analytica and all that. That was even before AI was a hot topic as it is now. So people have shown to be very resilient, and they are stronger than I think we give them credit for, and they will take less bullshit than we think they will. So the fact that companies are going to have to be more responsible with the data, I hope will lead us to a sustainable AI future. But yeah, that's my 2 cents on that as well.
Yeah, I think too, so probably everyone that signed up with ChatGPT signed an agreement they can use the data and stuff. So I haven't looked into what that was or is, and hopefully they anonymize it, because there's ways to anonymize it, but yeah, I don't know. So some of the stuff we are working on that we've used it for is to generate boilerplate code for different widgets on websites. So if you're looking at building Vue, a Vue navigation bar, it can spit that back out, but you just take it and tweak it to where it's actually efficient, because it is a little weak, but it really feels like it's going to kill a lot of jobs when that stuff gets mature.
Do you think it's going to kill jobs, Jason, or do you think it's going to change what jobs look like?
I think it will reduce the need for certain jobs, and people have to reskill for new ones that'll pop up. So yes and no. It's kind of I do think that we'll have to get out of this where you started a career and you're comfy for 30, 40 years before you retire. It's almost like we'll have to retrain every 4 or 5 years to stay kind of productive. I don't know.
I opens up a new market,
Yeah.
especially with kind of like people in their, I don't know, maybe 35 and up. I think there's still going to be a need for just purely human created art.
What was the
Yeah, I'm gonna-
Yeah, so there's a book called A Whole New Mind, and it talks about like the transition of how AI will make the arts a more valuable kind of like product of what humans do over what AIs can do. And it's kind of an interesting take on it because right now we value the arts, but it's not what earns businesses money as much as just pumping out apps and devices and things. So,
I
yeah,
meant writing as well. This is all kind of the utility that you can
yeah,
use
that
with AI.
I'm kind of bundling. Yeah, creative side. Uh,
You know, I wrote the Sodermo newsletter, and if you guys actually just like read one paragraph of it, you'll understand what I mean. But I tried using ChatGPT to generate that style of content, and it cannot do it at all. Like ChatGPT writes like Wikipedia articles. It cannot write in a entertaining way. Um, that's actually kind of digestible. It'll either write in such an entertaining way that it becomes like a gag, or it'll write in such a formal, professional manner that it's like a full-on research paper, because that's pretty much all it's been trained on. So I feel like there's still definitely niches in the creative space where AI can't standardize and can't take over.
Yeah, I agree.
Leon.
Kind of bouncing off Leon. I see you put your hand up, so I'll let you go ahead.
Just wanted to answer about that, Ryan. Are you right if you give it a prompt that it's default? But if you give a certain prompt or you keep asking or pinching the machine to give you a better entertaining content, it actually will. I asked many times to write certain stories. For example, you can ask him to write you a story on the style of a writer that you like. For example, I did with Ken Follett. So I asked him to write a story with the style of Ken Follett, and it did. And actually, there is even a guy who created a whole book completely with two AI tools. One was Midjourney to create the graphics, and ChatGPT to create the characters, and then the story basically. And he sold already. I don't know exactly the actual number that he sold right now, but he sold a quite nice amount of books of just by creating this book through AI tools.
Yeah, from what I understand, there was another woman that published a graphic novel. And the reason that she avoided the copyright issues is because she actually mentioned on the cover page that it was illustrated using Midjourney.
Can you run it through a tool like Grammarly, and where it does like the voice? It'll give you suggestions based on the voice you're trying to achieve. So I use it, and you set it up like if you want to sound scientific or proper, you can say that versus different. So I kind of wonder.
For the next meeting,
And if you guys don't mind, could you post those books in the chat? I'd like to check them out.
Yeah.
mine's just in my bio.
Okay.
What else? So I need to start winding down on this for something that I have in about 10 minutes. So any final thoughts? I'll redo this at the same time next week, but I'll try to organize with a couple of you guys to co-host if you're interested. So leave me a DM if you want to, and we can try and grow this, but I think just consistency is key. So anyone, final thoughts or suggestions?
Thanks so much for hosting this, Jason. It's been great chatting with all of you brilliant folks.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah.
It's a great space.
Never know how things will turn out, so just kind of like keep on plowing.
Indeed.
So, all right. So I guess I'll leave it at that. I will post the books, and DM me. So, thank you all again for joining, and hopefully until next week, if we don't connect before then. So.
I love the soundboard feature.
Yes.
Thanks, Sal. I'm going to be exploring the soundboard for the next week.
Yeah, I need to figure that out. I have no idea.